I stood in a packed, sweltering ballroom, digging my toes into the thick peach carpet, trying to steady myself and to not pass out. It was 2 a.m. I'd been wedged in a tight row of other young women, sisters, for hours, waiting. Everything inside of me was screaming that I should run, but my training, that had taught me to be silent and obey, was winning. A paunchy Korean man in a sharp business suit stood at the stage at the front of the ballroom and pointed. First to a brother, then to a sister. That meant they were matched, engaged. I'd been taught to call this man true father ever since I was a little girl, to believe that he was the Messiah. He had picked my parents out for each other. I'd always expected he would do the same for me. This was a moment that my parents, my community, and my religion had prepared me for years. But at that moment, I knew everything about this was wrong. To question what we were taught was to invite Satan and the evil spirit world into your mind. To fend off evil, one must quiet the questions and dive further into the teachings of True Father. The problem was that I was always inviting Satan in, always questioning. And by 19, I found myself on a terrifying personal precipice. I was seriously considering leaving the church. I didn't know if I believed in True Father, his world, or his supposed messianic mission. And as a reflex, I was ashamed and I hated myself. And with no means of supporting myself and no safety net outside of the insular church community, the fear of the outside world was overwhelming. And so, instead of leaving the church, I broke down and allowed my parents to coerce me into a matching at True Father's 18-acre mansion compound in Westchester, New York. And that's how I found myself on the verge of a panic attack in the ballroom at 2 a.m. When True Father's finger pointed to me, time stopped. I looked deep into the eyes of the man who had bidden me rise with his gesture, and I saw nothing. I was gazing into the eyes of the man who was determining my future, and I expected to see some sort of timelessness or to feel as though his eyes were digging into my soul, but he was just looking through me. Then time sped up. His finger jabbed in another direction, then another and another. Finally, I looked up at the man that True Father had chosen for me, the words "game over" ringing in my ears, and I knew I had just made the biggest mistake of my life. In that moment, my personal truth crystallized for me. I realized I didn't believe that True Father was the Messiah, nor did I believe in the church. But I had let my fear dictate my path, and it had led me to this terrible moment where I was about to be married to a stranger. I wish that I could say that moment of clarity was it for me. While it was certainly my breaking point where I realized I had to fight for my personal truth over everything else that was being dictated, I had realized it too late. At that moment, I was trapped, no matter how hard I fought. A few days later, I found myself standing in the back of that same ballroom, wearing a wedding dress that didn't fit, in a mass wedding ceremony that tied me to a stranger. It took me 2 years of fighting for myself to undo that mistake and to escape that marriage. But that fight gave me the strength, the certainty, and the bravery to face the outside world without the church. It taught me to value myself and my truth and how to fight for it. And today, I am proud of the scars that I earned from that fight.